All right. It's Kevin Garcia, aka the Puerto Rican KKG. This is Fight Hype, and today we've got Philly's own two-division, four-time champ, DSG, Danny Swift Garcia. Thank you for joining us, man.
For sure, bro. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no doubt. As you know, I was in Philly just a little while ago, and we can start right there, Danny. You got something kicking off with Swift Promotions, so why don't you let the fans know, inform me what's going on with Swift Promotions, how does it get started, and talk to us about this event you have coming up.
Definitely. So, being a boxing promoter has always been a dream of mine. When I first started boxing, I wanted to be a world champion, and that was my dream. And I did that multiple times. And then, one day I just realized, like, everybody tells you you could be a fighter, you could be a football player, you could be that, but nobody tells you you could own it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Come where I come from. So I'm like, you know what? I want to own something. I want to promote fighters. I want to be the, what I'm saying? I want to be the one, the top boss. You know what I mean? So that was always my mindset, just to be a boss and, you know, build fighters the same way I was built and make champions. And I feel like if you can become a world champion and you can make a champion and talent, that just sets you aside. It makes you even greater, like De La Hoya, like that.
no doubt, no doubt. And this Saturday, June 15th, Boardwalk Hall, Atlantic City, you've got your first event. And I met some of the guys while I was there. I met different breeds. So Johnny Rivera, I met Miguel Roman. But just talk to me a little bit about this fight on Saturday. And then who do you think some of your marquee fighters are that maybe the public doesn't know about that they should get familiar with?
For sure. So, the main event is Sonny Conto. He's 12-0. He's not my fighter, but I feel like he's a fighter. He's a heavyweight fighter that in a couple of fights that he could be, in the mix. The phone might be ringing out there in Saudi Arabia. So that's how I feel for him.
Yeah.
And I always felt like I always felt like he was always he's always should have been bigger than what he is. You know what I mean? I ran into him a few times and I said, look, man, you're a talented kid, you're a heavyweight, you could fight, you from Philly. I always felt like you could be bigger than what you are. And when I started my promotion, I was like, I want him to be the first one because I kind of want to promote him. I'm not his promoter, but I want to help him become, um, give him a platform.
Yeah. Yeah. How about
My
some of
bad, that's
the
my mom.
Nah, do you think, bro? It's all good.
Yeah.
It's all good. It's all good. I think I think the fans like it when real stuff happens during these interviews, so it's all good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's all good. So we got
Yeah, and then I got Juan Different Rivera.
mhm.
He's a 19-time national champion. And me and him, we kind of got like a lot of similarities. He's from my neighborhood. We're from the same neighborhood. He's Puerto Rican, American Puerto Rican, just like me. His dad trains him, so we got a lot of things in common. And when I seen him in the gym working out, I remember he was a kid. I didn't see him since he was a kid. Like that's how fast my career went. Like last time I saw him, we did like an outdoor show in the gym, and then one like 15, I don't know how many years later, 10 years later, he's a grown man in the gym. I'm sparring with him. I actually sparred with him when I fought for Benavidez, when I fought Benavidez, and that's when I knew I wanted to sign him as a fighter
Yeah, I
because
met
he to me he did a lot of good things. He knew what he was doing in there.
yeah, I was just gonna say I met his dad, and his dad definitely rattled off his accomplishments to me, and it was like never ending. I was like, yeah, we got to do an interview and let the fans know. So, different breed,
For
Johnny
sure.
Rivera, y'all should definitely check him out. But look, obviously this is y'all first promo, but I gotta ask you because you just mentioned the name. You talked about Turkey there. I'm curious. Have you seen the news about Turkey Al Sheikh? Supposedly, it could be rumors. Supposedly wanting to start like buy all the boxing companies and start a super league, kind of like
Yeah.
UFC. What do you think about that, especially being a new promoter?
Well, as a promoter, that's the promoter's dream for somebody to cash you out. It's always a dream for, I think Eddie Hearn, then you got the other guy, and you got Golden Boy. They that's the dream. That's the goal to build a company and eventually sell it for. I mean, I heard it's something like 4.5 billion.
Hmm.
That's life changing money. That makes that's the whole point of everything. So for them, that's congratulations to them. I mean, one day hopefully I could be in them shoes. There's another wave like that. But it's good for them. But I don't know how I feel about that for overall for boxing. I mean, because it'll be controlled by one person, and I don't know how you can build a star like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think the fans will get the fights they want to see, and I think it will help. It will help in that way, but I think it will be harder to build like a star that way, because they were obviously you got to build a fighter up and protect him until he gets to a certain level, and then you can fight him with the best. But if you just continue to fight the best all the time, it's gonna be hard to have like one star. You know what I mean? It'll be great fights and they'll help the promoter, but I think it'd just be harder to build a star. So I think it's good. It's good in a way, and it's bad. It's like anything in life. It's good and bad.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's interesting. It's interesting because one league,
Yeah,
obviously, I think we'll see people fight. We'll see cats in the ring that we probably never imagined fighting each other. It could also change like
right.
the way that we view boxing because then like having an L, kind of like the UFC, might become more of a
Yeah,
norm because the best fight the best. But then you're right, like, you got stars, Canelo. Canelo won 50 M's a fight. I don't know if you're gonna get 50 M's a
yeah,
fight in the league, right? So it's nuts. It's
yeah. I mean,
interesting.
it's got to make sense.
Definitely.
It's
Definitely.
definitely a tricky. It's definitely a tricky business. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's just like it's not simple. A lot of people don't know them big fights don't get made because there's a reason why.
hmm
Not because got people are scared of each other. I doubt anybody's scared of each other because as a fighter, deep inside you, you want to fight the best. You want to prove yourself.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's just too much, like to make a fight, and it's just never just happens.
And just to clarify that for the fans, when you say too much, you're referencing the business, like the way that the business works sometimes doesn't allow fighters to line up and maybe get in the ring, even though they want to.
Yeah, and then remember there's egos too.
Mm,
So a fighter could be super famous. A fighter could be like a super famous. He could be the ticket seller, and then you got a guy who's a young, hungry guy. He's smashing people, killing people. He moved his way up the rankings, but he don't have no fan base. You know what I mean? So it's like, why should I fight that young kid when he's not helping me? All I'm gonna do is help him.
Are you sure you're not
But
talking about
really,
Bud Boots?
oh no, I'm not talking about that.
Nah, I'm messing
I'm
with
just
you,
saying,
Danny. I'm messing with you. But
no,
that's
no,
a
no,
that's
no,
a
no, hell
similar
no,
situation, though, right? Now, I don't think Bud would be scared, but like Bud is
no,
alluding
not even
to
that.
that.
It's like, I mean, it's always like that. It's always like that. I feel like that's why Canelo's not fighting Benavidez.
There you go. There you go.
I
Exactly.
mean, that will make more sense. I'm not talking about Bud and Boots.
Nah, you good.
That
You
will make more sense in that
good.
situation. Yeah, that will make more sense in that. You know what I mean? But because Canelo's the face of boxing, so he's actually doing what he wants to do. But if
Yep.
there's a league and he signs to that league, then he has no choice but to do it. So that would be good in that sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Interesting. It'll get interesting for
Yeah.
sure.
Right.
Obviously, I
Right.
just mentioned his name, and I think it's only right that we talk about quickly. So, Bud, he's going up to 154. You got Spence going up to 154. What do you think about Bud's fight with Madrimov? Just your thoughts on that, being somebody who's been in the ring with Bud before. Do you think he's going to do well against Madrimov? Do you think he'll have any kind of challenges at that new weight class?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I never really saw the guy fight Madrimov. I never saw too much of him. I try to find some highlights on YouTube, and I seen some highlights. He seems like a strong guy. Throws a lot of power punches. Uh, I'm not really too familiar with him, to be honest. But I know what Spence could do. I mean, Crawford. I
Okay.
know what Crawford could do. Yeah, I know what Crawford could do. So I don't know what expect. I don't know what to expect on that fight. I think Crawford's gonna win just because I know more about him.
Got you. Got you. And then, I mean, a little bit before Bud and Madrimov, a little bit after Bud and Madrimov fight, you got Spence Fundora. Any thoughts about that
Yeah,
fight?
yeah, that's an interesting fight, man. I just think people are waiting to see how Spence looks after the Bud fight, and I ain't gonna lie, this is a tough matchup to come back right off the rip. I mean, with Fundora 6'7",
Mm-hmm.
just came. I think he just came off the best win of his career, unified the
Mm-hmm.
division. So right now, mentally, he's feeling good. But he does get hit a lot, and he will be right there in front for Spence, and that favors Spence. But that's a tough matchup. That's a real tough matchup. I think Fundora gives anybody problems.
Yeah, he's a big guy, but you hit the nail on the head. He likes to fight on the inside, and that's tailor made for
Yeah,
a guy like Errol Spence, who's 1-2
right.
consistent. And if you're there to get hit with it, it'll be interesting.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
It's definitely gonna be a good fight. It's definitely gonna be a good fight because both guys get hit.
you got to
You know
pick.
what I mean? Damn. That's a tough fight. I would have to probably. I like Spence a lot, but I think Fundora might win it.
Okay. Okay. Hey, you
Yeah,
being
I think.
honest. You being honest.
Yeah,
So I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
I'd be remiss. I think the fans would be highly upset with me if I didn't ask you. Obviously, them unifying is a potential thing, right? Bud wins, Spence wins. Do you think that they should unify? And if so, like if they were to fight again, do you think anything changes? Anything's different? Or do you think that Bud just he has Spence's style, he got him locked down, he got him, he got his number.
I think we just got to see how what they both look like after the next fights. Because both of them haven't fought in a year, I don't think. So there's gonna be, both of them. Um, yeah, both of them kind of inactive coming in the big fights. So I really don't know. I don't know. I really don't. Only time will tell. Whatever they look like their next fights, they should probably see if there's gonna be another competitive fight.
Fair enough.